How many people are aware of Southfield Parks and Garden Club? This is an organization, it's a 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization. It started and was created by the late John Adams back in 2005, and he envisioned the ability for people to volunteer their time, their energy to the nonprofit organization to help out folks as far as gardening, environmental issues, just learning basically about those things that deal with our planet. After so many years, it evolved into a lot of different things. We got into a lot of different activities. As you can see on here, it is a volunteer charitable organization, and we do a lot of different things. Just a little bit about some of the milestones. 2 years later, after it was established in 2005, we started doing what we call the Southfield Garden Walk. How many people have been at garden walks? Okay. This is something that we do every year, and what we do inside the garden walk, we'll talk about in a minute. Now, another thing that we do is our Pride and Joy, which is started and established in 2008, and it's called the Emmanuel Community Farm. I don't know how many people, we do have members here who work on the farm as volunteers. What the farm does is grow produce for people who are in need of food, some of the poor, and all of the produce that is grown is taken to like soup kitchens and agencies that help out people who need food. And I would say, and any of our members here can correct me, we probably average around 2,500 pounds a year of produce. So it's something that we've been doing every year. We've had just volunteers who have been dedicated to do this sort of thing. And I commend them because of the effort and the work that they put into to make sure folks get produce at the soup kitchens and other agencies. Another thing that we've done is in 2018, Mary Thompson Farmhouse. Now, how many people know about that place? It's right down the street here. It is one of our historical farms, and I'm not going to get into a lot of details on it, but we have started trying to recreate some of the plantings, per se, that farm, Mary Thompson herself, might have grown. So it's a very interesting spot. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later. Okay, a little bit more about the garden walk. Southfield Garden Walk, what we do is we go and ask neighborhoods, I should say, as far as what would you like to do as far as show off your gardens. Well, we have the garden walk, so if your neighborhood is interested in participating in that, I'm quite sure a lot of people would love to see your gardens. So that's pretty much what we do. We go out, we ask different neighborhoods, would you like to participate this year? And we've had different places through the years like Farmbrook, Stonycroft, Cranbrook, a lot of other of the neighborhoods. And they've participated in showing off their gardens and all the hard work they do. And it's a great way to meet people in your community. You've never met them before. You like to get some ideas of what they do and see what kind of gardens do they put together and get some ideas and just meet people, know your people, who your neighbors are, even if they're in the next community across the way. So again, we're going to have another garden walk this year. And it's usually about a 3-hour tour. And it's not something that we normally cancel with bad weather, because people always ask me, if it's bad weather, you're going to cancel it? No, we just go ahead and have it. Anyway, this is a picture of some of the aspects of the garden walk itself. You can see where you can sign in, you can buy tickets. We always have a bus that goes around the area, and you can take the tour. You can stop off at whatever stops you want to. We mark each of the spots you can see the sign on the lower left corner. We mark each of the houses so that you know which house you're going to go to and do a visit and see what kind of gardens people, your neighbors, have created. And this is just a few pictures of some of those gardens. This is some more. We did Cranbrook neighborhood, and you can see some of the gorgeous gardens and lawns that people have put together and worked hard on putting together. And then here's some more pictures of the gardens. Okay. Now, Manual Community Farm, like I was saying earlier, this is our pride and joy. A lot of people volunteered and worked hard at this. And it's not only do we grow produce for people who are in need, we also, it's an opportunity if you're volunteering to learn about gardening, whether it's something that you do yourself or not, you can always pick up tips from it as far as what we do. And we try to maintain organic horticultural practices. All of our, for example, our beds are raised, and they're something that we use as far as the technique. It's called the lasagna effect or lasagna technique. How many people are aware of what that is? Okay. What that is you take an established bed. Each season, or when you get ready to grow something, you don't dig it up. You leave it. What you do is layer mulch or compost over it, and then you put your plants in. In other words, you don't want to disturb some of the I can't say it. I almost said the wrong word. Shush. Anyway. All those little creatures that are up in there, you don't want to disturb them because that's what helps your plants grow, okay? So rather than disturb them, you just keep piling up on it. And it layers and layers and layers, and all those nutrients keep going in there, and your plants come out wonderful. And that's the practice we've been doing. John Annam started it when he started the farm, and we've been doing it ever since, and the plants grow wonderfully. It's a great technique. This little map, which looks kind of weird, but what it is we've also established irrigation. You know, sometimes when you get big areas, because this particular property is probably, roughly an acre, and nobody wants to stand there and water gardens that big all day. So what was done was folks got together and they put in an irrigation system so that it takes care of the plants without having to stand there all day and try to water them. And it works wonderfully. The plants love it.
And it's slow drip.
It's a slow drip irrigation. And I know a lot of people have heard that or used that in your own garden. Okay, this is again the lasagna effect and kind of a diagram. You can see where you start off with your base, and then every year you just add mulch of some kind, whether it's compost mulch or something that's environmentally friendly, and you just keep adding to it every year. Leaves themselves are okay to just get on there. If you've got paper and stuff like that and you want to put it, my recommendation is to compost it first and then put it on, because you want that to decompose so that the nutrients are able to work easier into your soil. So really what you want to do is compost it and put it in. Now, a lot of people, they'll just buy mulch that's already available, or they'll take their leaves, which you can do this because they decompose a lot easier. Just put leaves in the fall over it, and then you're ready in the spring. So there's different ways to do it. But I wouldn't suggest putting paper down unless you do it like early fall and you put it in, tear it into really little teeny little pieces and then spread it, and then maybe put some, because you want your green and your brown. So you might want to put leaves on top of that or mix it in and then put it on there. But you want it as fine as it can be so it can decompose. Now, again, this is a volunteer situation where we have a lot of volunteers that come in and work. You can see here where we've got flowers that are planted at the end of the beds, and is because we need our pollinators. That draws your pollinators so that they can pollinate any of the plants that you've planted in that section or wherever. So every year those plants come up and they help the pollinators. They draw them to them. These are the work hours in case anybody's interested, and I do have more information in case you are. And we start up, I think we're going to start up in April. Rob, is that? Yeah. Sometime in April. And the hours will be Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon and Wednesdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, the location of this farm is at Emmanuel Community Church. It's right behind it. Now, if it's right on the corner of, well, not near the corner, I should say. It's close to 9 Mile, but it's on Losser. There's a church on the, if you recognize directions, it's on the west side of Losser. And it's just behind, the garden itself is just behind that. You go into the church parking lot and you can, by the time you get in there, you can see the garden itself. It's fenced in. And if you're interested in volunteering, please let us know. I do have some flyers in the back in case anybody's interested. We can contact you and let you know when we're starting up, what we're doing, and that sort of thing. Other activities that we do. One of the things that we feel that is part of the help to the community is litter pickup. Now, we only do it in certain areas when it's really bad. It's a public area, and we need somebody to get out there and get that cleaned up because they're trying to keep Southfield clean, nice, pretty, that sort of thing. The other thing that we also do is kind of walk the parks. We got a lot of parks. I don't know how many if people have been to all the parks that Southfield has, but we do have a lot of parks. And one of the things we're going to get back into is just check them out, see if everything is okay. There's no, damages or anything like that if we have the time to pick up on that sort of thing. But this is just one of the many activities that we do. Next on there is chore program assistance. Okay, I know a lot of people have asked about this over the years. What chore is, and how many people know what chore program is? Okay, all right. What it is, this is an assistant program, and you sign up for it, and if you qualify, that's the big word here, if you qualify for the chore program, what they do, if needed, the person that's on that will get assistance from us because the folks that are in charge of chore program itself, what they do is they call me or call us and let us know, hey, we've got somebody that maybe is a shut-in, maybe it's an elderly that used to take care of their gardens and did a beautiful job, and now they can't do it anymore. Can you help them out? So what we will do is get a couple of volunteers. We'll go out, and we don't do major stuff. What we try to do is make it neat and clean. In other words, like maybe do a little bit of trimming if necessary, pick up garbage if necessary, do some raking and that sort of thing. So it's just to help them out to make it so that it's neat and clean in their yard. Okay, but again, key word, you have to qualify in the chore program.
With the city.
With the city. This is the city of Southfield. City of Southfield runs this program. So that's one of the volunteer things that we do. We also, another thing we do is the annual plant exchange and sale. And this is usually at the end of the season. What we do is we have people who bring in plants that they'll either want to exchange because they see another plant that they want, or they see something they don't want to exchange necessarily, but they want to buy it. And they're cheap. So we do that. We do it kind of as a fundraiser for our organization to help out. And it's fun because you get people. I had this one lady brought this plant in. Do you know how many years it took me to figure out what it was? And it's still growing in my house, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. But I found out what it was, and it was like, oh no, the bad word. But it was a cool plant. By the time I looked it up, and it was like, is that what you are? Oh, you cute baby, and stuff like that. I was excited because I didn't realize what it was. But you get that kind of stuff. You get people who bring stuff in. They may ask about it, or they say, well, I want to exchange it for something else, whatever. But we have a lot of fun. Again, it's like at the end of our season in October. And I always try to encourage people to come because it's a fun deal and you learn a lot. We ourselves meet once a month, the first Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock. We used to meet at Parks and Recreation Department, but right now we're trying to expand that. Instead of just meeting every month at one spot, what we try to do is go and meet at other places. Like maybe it's a garden tour, or maybe it's somebody that's giving a speech or something on gardening. But we do meet every Tuesday, first of the month. The other things that we do, and now I have to let you know that some of the stuff that we do have membership. So if you want to join, you can. You don't have to if you just want to volunteer to help do some of our projects. Wonderful. We'd love you to come and help us. We also have membership, and those people who are members are privy to a lot of other cool things that we do. One of it is we have speakers every once in a while that come in and talk about different aspects of environment, gardening, et cetera, stuff like that, how to do flowers and that sort of thing. We do field trips as a member. We are also a member of, and we do have a representative here right now. We also are a member of the Michigan Garden Clubs, which is one of the oldest garden clubs in Michigan. Actually, I think it is the oldest because it was in, and they themselves are, as Michigan Garden Club, as members of them, they themselves are members of the National Garden Club, which gives you a lot of perspective as far as what other gardens around the country are doing. And you can think about it like in different zones that are the terra firma is a little different. Like Florida is different than up here, totally. But it's a great thing in that I think it is, from what I remember, it is one of the largest volunteer organizations in the world. At least I've been told that. Am I exaggerating? In order to take advantage of that, you really have to be a member. And that's the advantage of joining Southfield Parks and Garden Club, one of the many advantages. The other thing we do is there's a lot of learning opportunities. Michigan Garden Club offers classes in different types of like gardening, landscaping, environmental. There's some of the classes that are offered, and you can get certified inside of that where you're working within the organization itself. Flower design. It's a lot of stuff. But again, you got to be a member of Southfield Parks and Garden Club. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from volunteering. If you want to volunteer, you can. You don't have to join, but if you join, those are the perks for doing so. All right. Next up, Darla Van Hoy.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. I'm the president of the Southfield Historical Society, and we were established in 1965, and we're primarily a historical group, but in 2018, we teamed up with the Southfield Parks and Garden Club, so that's what I'm here to talk to you about. The Mary Thompson farmhouse yard, prior to us taking over, looked like the picture on the left. And since then, the city has re-sided the entire building with hardy board, and we've replaced the old porch that was not historically correct with this porch, which is historically correct, and we've started plantings. So probably in 2016 or 2017, John Adams approached the Historical Society, and we had some general ideas as to how the Southfield Parks and Garden Club could help us, the Historical Society, to prepare gardens around the house, because the only thing really that was growing around the house was some spiderwort that's still there, and it's a wonderful plant. And then the city had planted some Siberian iris and some peonies. So on the left, we have some of the ideas that we had, and we have used some of those ideas, and we've expanded and done many other types of plants. We're trying to do historic plants, even though they didn't have foundation plantings in historic times. We are doing foundation plantings. Normally, they would have been against the fence, but that's not going to be conducive to our plan. We had to decide where we were going to start. We needed to do soil testing and a plan and how we were going to maintain these gardens. We're part of Southfield Parks and Rec, so we have someone, the Parks and Rec Board, we have to justify some of the things we want to do. We can use the compost pile. You don't want to confuse what we're doing around the farmhouse with the community gardens you have to pay for in the back. So there is a difference. And then we thought about either the Master Gardener program with volunteer gardeners coming in, possibly contacting local schools and that sort of thing. And then we would want to document everything we did. So that's what we're going to be seeing. Now, in 1910, this is a photograph of Mary with her brothers. Her mother's in the photograph. That's how we can date it, because she died in 1912. Mary's father had died many years before, and her mother said, "You need to get an education." Mary was the youngest of 5 children, and this is her in her graduation photograph. She not only got degrees at normal schools, but also master's degrees and a PhD from New York University. She became a teacher, never married, and she and her next oldest brother, James, periodically lived on the farm. And he had cows and horses, and she kept sheep. And I just want to show you what the house looked like in 1967 when Mary died at the age of 96. The city, Mary had provided for the city to take over the house, and there were some legal issues because her nieces and nephews wanted the house, but the city prevailed in a lawsuit. And this is Mary out in the field. This is pretty much how she dressed all the time. And she's probably about 96. In fact, she sold at half market value the property that we are on now, that City Hall is on now, that the nature trails and the golf course and the parks over here are on. So once the city took possession, they put up this cyclone fence. And it's really remarkable what both the Historical Society and the city has done in those many years. So we needed a, I know, and she was a remarkable woman. I would really strongly encourage you to come inside the house as well. I didn't put any of those pictures because it's not about the inside, but our contact information is on a handout. Be sure and get our handout. I do believe the price of the Parks and Garden Club membership is not correct, but it may be correct on the form that Pat brought. So this is our garden plan and our plant design, and the house is in the foreground and it's facing west. So we have several plants along there. This is in the top picture. Nope, you want me over here. In the top picture is 9-bark. It's a native plant. It's a remarkable plant. It's on the south side of the property, and it's right there in the bottom part. And then we have the picture on the left, and it goes around the curve there along the right-hand side, and that's bloomerang lilac. And it's an amazing plant. It's just amazing. And then the one over here on the bottom right is Weigela, and it's along the eastern border, kind of the northeastern border of the property, and many other things. Then the comfort facilities behind that, and we have plans for that area. Right now it's not planted at all. And Pat and I have almost single-handedly planted everything, although we've had lots of people come and help from the Southfield Parks and Garden Club. So in the top photograph, it's facing west. It's that new porch. Those are Annabelle hydrangeas, I believe. And then we have other plantings on either side. In the left, on the north side of the house, we have Black-eyed Susans, a clethra, ruby spice on either side of the side door, some more black-eyed Susans, the spiderwort is in there, and then we have a stilby on the other side, and you'll see some other photographs. Then here's the bloomerang lilacs. They're gorgeous. And then right here is the comfort facility and the gardener person who takes care of the community gardens. That's a blank space right now, so we have plans for that. We got a lot of plants donated, and these Shasta daisies and this meadow sage were donated, and this is just a beautiful area. Here's the right here in the middle is the Pioneer Family 2 structure sculpture. On the right side, we have some Veronica Speedwell, which John Adams and I had thought would be a good plant, the herbs and the Weigela. And then going on, we have the existing Siberian iris and the peonies that the city had already planted. And we have an overwhelming kitchen garden. It's overwhelming with hyssop and some oregano. The sage has disappeared. And I didn't mention this in any of the slides, but we have had so much fun with the different critters that we've seen. We know we have a living groundhog under the porch. This is the back porch where the kitchen garden is. So we know we have a living groundhog, but Pat has uncovered baby bunnies by accident. We've seen praying mantis, this bright blue wasp. The pollinators are incredible. We have had over the winter a couple of praying mantis egg sacs. Yep. And we've just had so much fun there. Oh, hawks and all kinds of critters. This is on the northwest side, the Astilbe. We have had many good trips to blocks. And we've been to Lavin's, right on 9 Mile. Some of this is Coreopsis. We've had that donated. We have some volunteer baby's breath, which I didn't want, but it filled a nice little space. Some pincushion plant and Pachysandra. We have Pachysandra in different areas there as well. Now, several years ago, before our former city clerk retired, we were able to get some documents from that were part of Mary Thompson's archive that the city was holding. So one of the things we found was this 1957 Burpee Company receipt. She's crossed out a bunch of things, but it has lists of vegetables and flowers that she wanted to purchase in the spring of 1957. So we'd like to replant this on one side there in front of the comfort facility. We'd like to operate a plot in the community garden behind the house for a children's garden and a learning opportunities for children, and plant boxes that are on stilts that handicapped people in wheelchairs can access. So that concludes our portion. We have some contact us, but there are handouts in the back that also give you this. And it has the Southfield Parks and Garden Club email, their website, and their Facebook page. The same with the Southfield Historical Society.
Okay.
And, oh, I forgot one thing. Jointly, Pat and I applied for a Keep Michigan Beautiful award last year at the end of the season. And we have a plaque in the back. We did receive an award, and we're able to attend the program at their annual award ceremony. So Barb's bringing up the award. It'll sit inside the Mary Thompson farmhouse because it's from the Mary Thompson yard. So we're very, very excited about that. Thank you.